And good evening and welcome to another edition of Sports Corner. My guest tonight is Claudio Rosano, and it's great to have Claudio here with us tonight. We have a lot to talk about, as we always do here on Sports Corner every Tuesday night, 8 p.m., YouTube, Facebook, and now on Twitch. And we're getting ready to come up on Twitter real soon and a few other platforms as well. Tonight's going to be an interesting night because we're going to be talking a lot about the Steelers, dissect this game against New England, Pitt football and their win against Western Michigan, and a little bit about the Pirates. Tonight they're playing the Yankees. Right now it's 0-0 in the third inning, so that's a good thing. All right, coming up. Okay, Claudio Rosano, welcome to the program, Claudio. It's nice to have you. Claudio, are you there? Hello? Claudio.
Can't hear you.
Oh, I can hear you now. I can hear you. Okay, how about now? Are you there?
I got you now.
Okay, great, good. All right, Claudio, welcome to the program. It's great to have you tonight.
Thank you for having me, Ralph. I appreciate it. It's always fun to be on.
No problem. How's everything with the book and the CMU baseball team? Tell everybody what you do.
Book's doing well. It's a timeless book. It doesn't date itself. It's about leadership. Lead from the heart up, not the neck up. How to create a positive winning culture on the field and in the office. It's doing well, steady. Carnegie Mellon University baseball. We won Sunday. We started our season. We have a fall season, and we have a great young team, great group of guys. So I'm very excited about our season. Our pro scouting company, the Global Scouting Bureau, I'm general manager and professional baseball scout with the Global Scouting Bureau. We are setting up free agent camps starting in February. What else? Podcasts. I'm hosting a brand new podcast, the Pennsylvania Basketball Association, Pennsylvania Basketball Coaches Association podcast. We just did our first one this week. And then, of course, I host my own podcast where I interview a lot of legends: Smoking Jim, Luther, yourself, Mario Andretti,
Absolutely.
Rocky Bleier.
You just had your announcer Rick Mitchell on this week.
Mitchell, great guy. Yeah, Rick was on our show. And then what else do I do? Doing all kind of things. So everything's good. Good.
Well, that's good. On another note, not sports related tonight, I want to dedicate tonight's show to Aiden Lombardi. Those of you out there who are not aware, Aiden was murdered by a gentleman named Tyler Mason. His sentence came down yesterday. He's going to get 20 to 40 years in prison, life sentence. Aiden Lombardi happens to be my best friend's grandson that got murdered about 2 years ago. So I want to dedicate tonight's and the rest of my shows this week to Aiden Lombardi. He's up in heaven with the Lord now. And it was great to see Tyler Mason get what he got. And it was so bad at the court hearing yesterday that the judge even was in tears. So, I mean, it was sad. She said she could have done more, but she had to do what was according to the state law. They gave him, he had a plea deal, 20 to 40 years to life sentence. It was sad to see that this came down like this. But, it is what it is. Let's get into sports, Claudio. Let's talk about the Steeler game on Sunday. They lost to New England 17-14, one of the saddest games I ever seen. I think the Steelers could have won this game. What's your thoughts on this offense? I think it's three things. I think it is Trubisky, it is Matt Canada, and it's definitely Mike Tomlin. Because I think that all three of these guys should be held accountable for this because A, Mike Tomlin's the captain of the ship. B, Matt Canada is the one that calls the plays. And C, Mitch Trubisky's the quarterback. So what's your thoughts on this?
You're exactly right. All three have their hands in it, and all three should be held accountable. What you're hearing now is the wide receivers saying that they were open and they don't like the play calling, and the tight end, Freiermuth, isn't crazy about it. Trubisky's not crazy about it. He can't check off at the line of scrimmage and call audibles. So there seems to be a little, tension there. and everybody's speaking through the press. As the head coach, Tomlin has to squash that right now. He has to call
Yes.
the offense in, Canada in, and let's start this over right now. Nip things in the bud. Okay. It's like when you cut grass. If you wait till it gets 6, 7, 8, 9 inches, it's going to be hard to cut. If you cut it
Right.
slow, you can take care of it. I'm huge on nipping things in the bud. So, as the head coach, as the leader of the team, leader of the organization, and really the face of the organization, in my opinion, he has to call these people in a room and just hammer things out right now. Now, having said that, the play calling is not good. I mean, everybody said, "Oh, it was Ben last year and his
Right.
immobility." People are going to wish they had Roethlisberger back. Okay. Now, having said that, again, these 3-yard dink and dunks and put Kenny in. Number one, drafting Pickett, in my opinion, was not the right thing to do on several fronts. Number one, they needed an offensive line. Offensive line, in my opinion, is the most important positions on the field because it helps with the passing, helps with the running, and it helps with the defense because the passing and running are helping. The defense
Right.
isn't always on the field. Then when you have Pickett, okay, as soon as Trubisky throws one interception or one bad pass, we want Kenny. We want Kenny. Now, if Kenny played for University of Colorado, nobody would care. But because he's from
Right.
Pitt, had a nice career here, everybody has an emotional attachment. You can't be emotional. You just can't.
No.
Okay?
No.
So, again, if Pickett's there, he may give a quick burst of energy to the team, but then after a while, it's going to go back to what it is. I think Canada, he's the head coach of the offense, and it just isn't any good. Everybody, the jet sweep, and he's a genius. Well, where did he? Why is everybody saying he's such a genius? I
Right.
don't know.
Yeah. You know what's interesting, Claudio? He had that one good season when Kenny Pickett was there. He helped Nate Peterman. I call him the choke Peterman because he chokes all the time, even in the pros. He stinks. He choked in the Senior Bowl. He choked in the NFL. He's choked all across. I call him the choker, Nate the choker. So anyway, besides the choker and Kenny Pickett, he's been with Pitt for a couple of years, and things went all nice hunky dory. Then he went to LSU, and him and Ed Ogeron couldn't get along. So all of a sudden he's going. He goes to Maryland, and he works under Randy Edsall. Randy Edsall gets fired, and he ends up being the head coach at Maryland there. Then he comes to the Steelers as the quarterbacks coach, and supposedly he's supposed to have this big genius thing. Now, I want to admit something tonight, Claudio, because I thrive myself on this. I will say when I'm right, but I will admit when I'm wrong. Okay. And I was wrong about Matt Canada. I was one of these people out here that said that Matt Canada was one of the greatest things since sliced bread. And look at what's happening right now. And then today or yesterday, they had this press conference or had an interview with him. And he's going on and on, bring it on and swing away and all this other stuff. And we're going to do this and we're going to do that. Just patience. You know what? You can't have patience in football because there's not enough time to have patience. You should have started executing this stuff now, not later. And I don't care what you say about Trubisky. I thought, and again, I was wrong about Trubisky. I thought he was better off, than everybody else. But now I'm starting to think twice about this. And, I think all three are to blame. But the biggest blame has to go to Mike Tomlin because he's the captain of the ship.
Well, I said at the beginning they should get a free agent quarterback. First guy I said was Mariota or Jimmy G, who's now playing in San Francisco again, unfortunately for Trey Lance, but who was injured, unfortunately. But I think Trubisky was a great pickup. I mean, he can run. He's got a strong arm.
Right.
Pickett can run. I don't think he has a great arm. I mean, everybody just has to calm down about throwing Trubisky out. I think what's going to happen is if they lose Thursday, then Pickett's going to go against the Jets. But again, that goes with drafting him. You knew going into it he was extremely popular here, which is great. He had a great career at Pitt. That's terrific.
Right.
But you also have to know what was going to come with it. The press, all they did for months on radio shows, on podcasts, Pickett, and then they got him. Okay,
Right.
great. Well, they said be careful what you wear, and I'm not blaming him for anything, but I don't know how much better he would do with these 5-yard, 3-yard patterns. Okay, so again, very critical of coaching all around, like the guy from Denver, 4th and 5, and you kick a 64-yard field goal. See, these guys, they say I'm in the office 17, 18 hours a day just so it's a 4th and 5, so you kick a 64-yard field goal. It's ridiculous. And then, I think they try to out trick themselves. They all try to be cute. At least the offensive coordinators. I think the offensive coordinators try to be cute. So some announcer says, that's the next guy, that's the next genius. And then he's going to be up for a head coaching job. Instead of concentrating on your job, and that's
Right.
it. Not trying to be cute. Don't worry. You have Claypool and Pickens and Fryer. You got a lot of weapons there. A lot of weapons. Use them. What the hell's the sense of having them if you're not going to use them? Air it out. I mean,
Right. Exactly. Yes.
I'm not saying it'd be like
Yeah.
Daryl LaMonica, the Mad Bomber, Dan Fouts, or Dan Marino. I'm not
Right.
saying, or Namath when he threw for 4,007 yards at the AFL. I'm not saying that. But if you open it up a little bit, middle and deep, the running game is going to be better. But again, these guys, I don't know what they're thinking. But again, Tomlin has to get the Canada, the
Right.
quarterbacks, the
Yeah.
wide receivers, offensive linemen, everybody.
He has
And
to
this,
right the offensive ship.
if you
I
don't
mean,
job, you're gone. It's that simple. In college,
right.
you kind of can't do that because you only have so many players. You can't trade for anybody. There's not a free agent market. In the NFL, there's guys out there who want to play. Okay, if you don't do the job as a coach or as a player, this is a business. This is professional football.
Exactly.
You know,
Exactly. Yeah, I was going to say that, and you took the words out of my mouth. And you know a lot about business, so I mean, even football's a business. Everything that involves around that is a business. And my next question to you is, we already talked about how bad the offensive line is. Even James Daniels came out. He said that we're running the same boring offense they ran in Chicago. And James Daniels was in Chicago when Trubisky was there, so he knows what Mitch can do, and what the offense was under Matt Nagy when he was there. So what's your thoughts on this offensive line? I mean, Dan Moore. I mean, he's got to go. They got to get him out of there. They went out and they got this Davis guy, this Jesse Davis from Minnesota. Why don't you put him in there? They got Trent Scott from Carolina. Why don't you put him in there? Put somebody other than Dan Moore in there, because Dan Moore is terrible. He needs more seasoning. They've already deactivated Kendrick Green a few times. So why can't they do it to Dan Moore? I mean, I just don't get this.
I asked Smoking Jim about the offensive line. I said, is it not desire and passion and mechanics,
Right.
technique? And he said, yeah, it's who gets off first. And you look back at the guys, when I think offensive line, obviously John Hanna, considered maybe the greatest of all time, Jackie Slater, Tom Mack, the LA Rams, I can go on and on. Those guys weren't as, they were big, but not like these guys, but they had that passion. Their technique was good. Their desire was good. I'm not saying these guys' desire isn't good. I don't know. I don't know enough to speak on their technique. All I know is
Right.
that it's not going well. That's why I said that they should have, for the millionth time, every show I'm on,
Right. Right.
should have drafted heavy, pardon the pun, offensive line. I know you had a guy from Connecticut, I believe, right?
Yeah, well, that was for defense. I wanted that Trent Jones. I thought they should have took him. He would be a great compliment to Alawu on the line. I mean, because he's like a Casey Hampton. That's how big his kid is. And let me tell you something, Claudio. The Ravens went ahead and drafted huge. I wanted that kid from Minnesota, that Dan Filali or whatever his name was, 380 pounds. He can run the ball like Fridge Perry. He can throw the ball. Well, we have a punter who can throw the ball, and we don't do no fake punts. We don't do nothing imaginative on special teams. We don't do any onside kicks. We don't do anything like that at all. So no use having Presley Harvin around, because all you can do is punt. I mean, when Colbert drafted him, he said, "Oh, he could throw the ball. We can do some fake punts." Where are they? How come we're not doing them? Why aren't we trying other ways to win games on special teams other than? And then you got Aluski fumbling the ball, or Losky, or whatever his name is, fumbling the ball. The gunner. He was supposed to be this greatest Pro Bowl guy, and then all of a sudden you bring him, he fumbles the ball. I mean, These are stupid mistakes and boneheaded moves that this team shouldn't be making with a coach that's been in the league 15 years.
And again, you look at the names the weapons that they have. It shouldn't be this bad. It really, I mean, they're not using it. But again, I repeat, you're right. Tomlin, Canada, maybe first them get into a room, okay,
Yeah.
and say, I bring everybody in. They said, look, we have the talent out there. Why aren't we using it? And it's
Right. What's
simply
going on here?
if it doesn't work, at least fans and the media, and at least the players are going to say, at least we gave it a shot. At least we're trying. This 3 yard stuff, 5 yards, it's not cutting it. But see that
Well,
in a way, I think what they're doing is what everybody else see. They're copycat. Okay, these
right.
coaches are copycat. Other teams are doing the same thing for the most part, and they depend on that yards after catch. You know what? And I'm a huge fan of the old LA Rams when Chuck Knox used to coach there. I've said it numerous. He was like an uncle to me, so we followed the Rams. Now Chuck's nickname was Ground Chuck, but when in '73, we'll just use that team when they had John Hadle and Harold Jackson. Go look at their yards per catch. Their wide receivers, Jack Snow, in the 20s, Ron Jesse, 17, 18 yards. Now, and that was during the era where they ran the ball. Even Lawrence McCutcheon, the running back, who I said Harris is very similar to him. Harris didn't. McCutcheon didn't catch 3 yard patterns, 2 yard patterns. He would go deep a little bit. Okay, send Harris deep. They don't do anything. But this is the genius. But it's not just Canada. What does Cincinnati do? I didn't think they were that great with their play calling last week.
No, not at all.
Not
And they
playing.
blew it this week against Dallas.
Their timing was bad. September is the new August. Okay, years ago they used to play 6 exhibitions, 7, whatever it was, and 2 days. I'm not saying wear the guys out. I'm not saying that, but you have to. Timing's everything. Timing's everything. Play these guys more. Cincinnati's going to get off to a slow start, obviously, because a lot of these teams, and especially Cincinnati, September is the new August.
Right. What I wanted to talk about was the defense. I think they should have pressured the quarterback a little bit more. I didn't see too many big blitzes. I thought they should have done. That is their specialty. Why don't you stick to it until somebody can stop it? Remember back in the day, you ran the ball, ran it till somebody stopped you, passed it till somebody stopped you. Why don't you blitz until somebody stops you? I mean, and then I hope that they don't do to Malik Reed what they did to Melvin Ingram. I really hope that's the case because Malik Reed, I seen him make some plays. Devin Bush has been doing pretty well since Flory showed up. And he left the game with a foot injury. So, it seems like these linebackers and these corners keep getting hurt. And then I saw some nice close plays like the Witherspoon play. He didn't catch the ball. He didn't go after the ball more. There needs to be some extra effort here. What happened to the turnovers? What happened to creating turnovers and getting the ball back and maybe, catching an interception for a touchdown, just like you did in the Cincinnati game. And I think Tomlin thought that was going to happen, and it ended up blowing up in his face. What do you think?
I think I've said this last year too. I think they go for the splash play instead of they're a baseball team that just swings for the fences as opposed to getting some singles, doubles, and triples. Okay. And I'm not saying being passive like they are on offense. I said go for it on offense, but maybe go for it more consistently on defense, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that they could have pressured Jones more and make him rush.
Right.
But I don't know what I think. It seems like thus far, and what is one of Tomlin's famous quotes? You can't live in your fears, right? Which I agree with. I agree with that, but it seems like offensively they are, and maybe Sunday defensively maybe they were. I again when with the Seattle Seahawks when Chuck Knox 1984 I believe it was when Kurt Warner, the running back Kurt Warner, who was a stud and a half, got hurt. Yeah, they got Franco and that didn't work, but they had after they let go of Franco, they had like running back guy by committee, a guy named David Hughes, a guy named David Dornick, I believe his name was. They still ran the ball. Okay, my point is, Watt got hurt. Okay, we got it. Really, the next man up still got to do the same game plan. Still got to rush. Still got to put pressure. Just because he's gone, I don't think they had a sack Sunday, if I'm not mistaken.
Right. Yeah.
But you still have to blitz. I'm with you. Okay, our main guy is down. Yes, but you know what? The hell with it. We're still going to go play that scheme. We're still going to go after it. Be
Right.
aggressive.
Right. Yeah.
Attack. Like you said, it's a short season. It isn't like baseball where you can afford to get in a slump. In football, you can't. It's a sprint, and they have to attack.
Exactly.
In my opinion.
So, what's your thoughts on the AFC North? The Jets beat the Browns by 1 point, and Cleveland today fired their defensive coordinator, Joe Woods. They fired him today, Cleveland. So,
Okay.
Cincinnati 0-2. Can Zach Taylor get them back in contention? I mean, they're not looking too good right now. They're 0-2. They lost to a Dallas team with a backup quarterback. So, what's your thoughts on that? On this
Again,
AFC
as
North?
far as Cincinnati's concerned, uh, they not playing anybody, and they're just now starting to get in the football shape. So it's going to take them a while. I look for Cincinnati to be tough, really tough, back to their almost their old self. Everybody calls it Super Bowl hangover. I just think it's exhibition season hangover. I think that they'll probably start kicking it in game 6, game 5. The Ravens, I still think that they're going to win the division. I think they have a great quarterback, dangerous quarterback, uh, and I think that they're probably the best team in the league. Cleveland is better. I like Brissett. I always did, and of course they're waiting for Watson to come back, but you can't do
Right.
that. Um, it's a tough competitive division. I don't think anybody's going to run away with it. You know,
Mhm.
uh, but Pittsburgh is going to have a tough time because they have Cleveland, they have the Jets. Jets they should beat, but you never know. And I believe they have Tampa, Miami. There's going to be a stretch where it's going to be tough for them, and they really don't have a whole
Oh
lot of
my! Hey, don't
room.
sell Miami out. Don't. They just had 2 games and they're 2-0 already.
No,
You
I
know.
said it's going to be a
Yeah.
tough schedule. Yeah,
With Mike McDonald down there in Miami. 42-38, they beat Baltimore. They're a fighting team. And guess who's on the Miami Dolphins? Melvin Ingram. And I watched him bat down a couple passes. So Melvin Ingram's playing for Miami.
but I think this week's going to be tough because Cleveland runs the ball well, and they're playing in Cleveland. Steelers right now, I believe, are ranked 24th in the run, which isn't that great. And I believe Cleveland might be number 2 in the NFL ranked right now early in the season with Chubbs and all that. So I think it's going to be a tough game for Pittsburgh. I really do.
Okay, let's talk a little bit about the Pirates a little bit. We know their season has sort of dissected after the All-Star game, which it happens to happen every time. I don't know why. They're 55-92. They're in pace to lose 100 games. They're playing the Yankees tonight. It's 0-0 in the third, I think. So. But anyway, what's your thoughts on the Pirates?
Not a good organization. People say in 2025 they're going to make the playoffs. Well, what makes you say that? Who are they going to develop? Who are they? I thought the Brian Hayes signing. Well, I think he's very overrated.
Yeah,
Good,
that was a flaw. To me, that was he's bad. Yeah,
good
he
defensive.
is.
But you don't pay that kind of money for a 255 hitter. And then, if everybody's saying he's got to hit more home runs, got to hit more home runs. So what's he doing? He's jerking those hips even more, which is supposed to create more home power, which in fact, it's hurting his power because the bat drops and drags. We won't get into that. I don't see it. And who are their pitchers? Who's going to
Yeah.
take the 2000? I mean, what's his name?
Well, you got Mitch Keller. You got Bryce Wilson. Yeah.
Keller is not going to be, in my opinion, and again, this is not personal with anybody. I think he's going to max, 10, 11 games, maybe at his peak, in my opinion. I don't think
Right.
he's not a number one starter. Okay.
Right.
I don't see those. Oh yeah, the AAA, they're doing this, they're doing that. Cruz has ability. Okay, if he can be fixed, and he can be I mean, everybody again, splash hits. He hits a home run in the river, everybody goes crazy. We want to see more home runs. He should hit for a higher batting average.
Yeah,
I
he
know
strikes out all the time. They
I
all
know
do.
I know he's a rookie. I get it, but your job is to coach him. There's a few guys who can get better. Okay, that's fine. It's like this: if you're not going to go buy a brand new car, then fix up the one that you have. If they're not going to go get a big time free agent, then fix the
Right,
one that you have. I don't see
right.
that happening. So I think this is going to be a while.
Well, what I think the Pirates' main problem is they keep getting rid of these veteran players that are veterans that can work with these young players. You know, like Vogelbach, they brought him in. I thought they'd keep him around. I heard he was a good clubhouse leader. I just don't get it. They keep getting rid of all these veteran players, and then who's in there to talk to these young kids in the locker room other than the coaches? There has to be somebody that has to be a leader, and nobody's a leader, and that's what the problem is.
I have some pictures behind me of the 71 Pirate team, the 79 Pirate team. And right away, when you say those 2 years, you think of Clemente and 79, you think of Stargell. But there was guys like, Sanguin was a leader. Not Doc, Tecalvi, Parker. And then again in 71, Stargell did his thing. Blass, Dave Justy. You had a lot of guys in the locker room, Bob Robertson, Al Oliver. You had guys that Dave Cash a young Rennie Stennett would come in, and they took him under their wing. Or in '79, what they did. So yeah, you need that leadership presence. And who sticks? Who's the leader on the field? I don't know.
Nobody. I don't
No,
know.
like
Yeah.
again, Brian Hastings, and not to pick on him, a couple of days ago with the sunflower seeds. Somebody from the locker room. Now I'm not in the locker room, so I don't know what was said, what wasn't said. But I have a feeling that if he'd have done that with the '70s Pirates or the '86 Mets or the Big Red Machine or the Yankees of the Reggie days, I don't think that would have Billy Martin, Dick Williams, Whitey Herzog, Chuck Tanner, Danny Murtaugh, Cito Gaston, Bob Gibson as a teammate. Would he have put up with that? I don't think so.
Right.
I can go on and on mentioning names. Frank Robinson, I can go on and on of managers and players who would not have accepted that too well. So I just don't see them being much better next year. It was, they're going to be much better. Okay, well, why? Let's get, hope isn't a strategy. Well, this guy's, he's hitting, everybody's hitting 230, 215, 220. It's, like I said, if you're not going to go get a new car, fix up the one you have. And
Yeah, right, right. Now let's get into some Pitt football. They won 34-13 against Western Michigan. Uh, Nate Yarnell was the quarterback, third string quarterback. Uh, I give Frank Signetti some credit, the offensive coordinator and quarterbacks coach, for getting this kid prepared and ready. He was cool. He was calm. They ran the football, and despite a few errors here and there, they still pulled it out, 34-13 against Western Michigan. I didn't want Pat Narduzzi to lose this game again, because it would have really affected everything around around Pitt. And now that they won this game, if they beat Rhode Island on Saturday, they're going to be 3-1. And I think they're going to beat Georgia Tech, because Georgia Tech got blown out 42-0. So, I mean, Georgia Tech has no team. And Duke, Virginia, and Virginia Tech all have new coaches, and they've squeaked out victories against teams. So I think Pitt, other than the Miami game, I think Pitt's going to do pretty well this year if they can keep their cards. And the injury bugaboo, some of their guys went down, but now, they're playing Rhode Island, so they can put some second stringers in there. They can get some of these guys healthy. Nick Patty can come back. Clayton Slovis can come back. But they said Nate Yarnell will probably play Saturday because they want to get these guys back that they need for the rest of the season. What's your thoughts on Pitt football?
Well, again, you and I talked about it, a couple weeks ago.
At the
About
Tennessee game, yeah.
I like to see more of a rhythm, more of a momentum, an identity. Like, what's their idea? Is it run? They have a good running back, and how you pronounce that?
Is he
out
out of Bacanda? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm getting like Smoking Jim, mispronouncing names. But he's a nice back. Use him. This way, it takes the pressure off the quarterback, and the defense doesn't have their ears pinned back on him. Run the ball, okay, and throw on first. You don't want to be. You want to have some consistency, but at the same time, you want to have an identity, and I think that they can do that. So I think against Rhode Island is a great. I don't want to say a great way to start it, but they ran the ball well last week. Just be a running team and let him. He's a stud. Let him do his thing, and this way it helps out the quarterback. And then in turn, when you keep the ball, you keep the defense off the field because I think the defense is pretty good. But
Yes.
you better rest it up if they're not on the field all day long. So I
Right.
think it starts with the running game, in my opinion.
Well, Signetti's thumbprint is the running game. He's a power running kind of an offensive coordinator. He
Yep, and
he, he was he was worked under Wannstedt, so I mean, I think it's pretty decent. He's made some boneheaded play calls. You and I had that discussion at Acrisure Stadium when we saw each other for the Tennessee game, and I'll be there this Saturday for the Rhode Island game, and so we'll see what they do this Saturday. I hope they blow this team out. I'd like to see a blowout here. Like you said, impose their will, do the running game, power running game, beat them up, and get a win, get some guys healthy and back. And I was very impressed with Nate Yornell this past Saturday, and I hope he does well. And we'll see what goes on with that. Claudio, thanks for excuse me. Wow. Thanks for being on the show tonight, and good luck with your scouting and CMU baseball. And so we'll have you on again another time. Have a great one. Thank you for being a guest on tonight here on Sports Corner, Tuesday night, 8 p.m. Claudio, have a good one. Thank you.
Your brother, thank you. Thank you for having me on.
No problem. Have a great one. Be
too.
safe. Claudio Rosano, author, baseball coach, coaching. He does scouting. He does a lot of things. He has his own talk show. Claudio Rosano, my guest tonight here on Sports Corner. We're going to get into some other stuff going on here. We got the local sports. Duquesne. I tell you what, Duquesne looked very well. I mean, based on a few mistakes from what I heard from Tad Maury, I didn't watch the game because it wasn't televised or anything on TV. But from what Tad Maury told me when I spoke with him, they had a great time in Hawaii. But he said Duquesne won, or they played a pretty good game. They made some mistakes. You can't make any mistakes when you're playing against Hawaii anyway, even though Hawaii really isn't that great of a team. But they lost 24-14. Their next game is October 1st. They play Stonehill. Penn State won 41-12 against Auburn. I tell you what, Auburn looks awful. I watched a little bit of that game. Penn State just imposed their will on Auburn. I'm really shocked that Auburn is this bad. I mean, I just can't believe, Auburn. But anyway, Robert Morris was off this week. They play this Saturday against Eastern Tennessee State at Joe Walton Stadium. Thursday night, West Virginia versus Virginia Tech. Something to realize here. Rumors are circulating West Virginia is getting out of the Big 12. The ACC has opened up the door, thrown out the olive branch and said to them to come into the ACC. Before we get to other sports news, NFL and college, I got to say something about the officiating in the pick game. I'm getting tired of arguing with people on Facebook who think that I'm wrong for picking on the officials. Really? Am I wrong? Okay, did you watch the Tennessee game? How the officials gave Tennessee 14 points. And don't tell me it didn't happen, because it did. Okay? The NCAA has this replay person sitting up in a booth in the stadium somewhere where, everybody complained last year about how it was in New York, it was in Baltimore, it was wherever, Alaska, wherever the replay officials were. Everybody complained about that. So they went ahead and put them back in the booth like the NFL. Okay? So now the referee got this little earbud piece in his ear, and when the replay official says, stop, we need to take a look at it, Here we go. And the game keeps stopping and stopping and stopping. Okay. Just like the Steelers offense, they don't let Mitch Trubisky make a decision. The replay official doesn't let the referee do his job. Okay. Because if you watch the Western Michigan game, and if you watched it carefully like I did, we got stiffed 3 times, more than 3 times, 4 times. They were pushing our guys around. Where was unsportsmanlike conduct? Right in front of the referee, holding right in front of the referee. Okay? Where was the officials? Why weren't they calling these plays? And it was going on in front of them and they weren't calling nothing. Do these officials have a problem with Pitt? That's what I want to know, because it seems like we get screwed every single game. And you know what's funny? I'm the only one that sees this. Why doesn't anyone else see this? Why? And now I'm getting accused of picking on officials. No, I'm not picking on all officials. I didn't say that. The officials for every single Pitt game make bad decisions, bad mistakes, and bad calls, and it affects Pitt's winning against the team. It's bad enough Pitt's got to go up against a team, a head coach of another team, the whole team itself. Now they got to go up against the officials. Okay? They can't be a physical defense because they get called for unsportsmanlike conduct. But it's okay when Western Michigan pushes our players around after the bell or the whistle blows and they're pushing our guys around. Was there a penalty called? No. Okay? All right? No, not at all. And please don't ever accuse me of being against officials. I'm not against any officials. I'm against officials who don't do their job and constantly try to go after Pitt. And please don't tell me that ain't going on, because if it wasn't, why does it happen every game? Why does it happen every game? And you know what's sad? We can't do nothing about it. And I posted on my Facebook page, just like a weatherman. The weatherman can be wrong. The weatherman can be wrong all the time and still have a job. That's officials. That's referees, officials. They can make all kinds of mistakes and not call penalties and cost people games and not get fired. Not get fired at all. That's why I'm angry tonight. This is my rant for the night about these officials. It's getting old. Okay? Next week, we got Atlantic 10 officials here. What are they going to do? They're going to screw Pitt over? Yes. Because it seems to be the norm around here that all these college football officials have it out for Pitt. Make Pat Narduzzi have a heart attack every game because he has to argue with these officials over these calls. That was targeting when they took out Jarrett Wayne. What happened to the play where he was out of bounds and he didn't have control of the football? And the replay guy said they had control of the football. What are you looking at? What are you looking at? Please don't tell me. And don't make comments on Facebook. You know who you are about that. I have a problem with officials. No, I don't. I have a problem with officials and referees who don't do their job and cost games to a team that shouldn't happen. And don't tell me it's not happening, because it is. Either the officials in college football have an issue with Pitt. Maybe there was jealousy about Dan Marino. Maybe something Kenny Pickett did last year. Remember that? Yeah, maybe this, what's the problem? What is the problem? Okay? And then if you say something, oh, Mighty, please don't say anything because you get a fine. You get a fine. They're untouchable. They're untouchable. They're part of a group of untouchables that follow under a bracket of this. And that's my rant for tonight. Terrible. Horrible. All right. Let's get into the NFL scores for Sunday. Eagles 24, Vikings 7. Bills, look at the Buffalo Bills. Buffalo Bills are moving along. They're doing well. I think they're going to go to the Super Bowl this year. I agree with a few other people. Some other media colleagues of mine have said the same thing. Packers 27, Bears 10, Broncos 16, Texans 10. The battle of new coaches: Nathaniel Hackett for Denver and Lovie Smith for Texans. Lovie Smith can't win a game. He can't win a game. I don't know if he's too old for coaching. I don't know if this is the right job for him to rebuild the Texans, but we'll see what they do. It's only 2 games into the season. Arizona pulls out a win against Las Vegas, 29-23. The Rams, 31, Falcons, 27. Rams trying to recover from an embarrassing loss to the Buff Bills. 49ers with Jimmy Garoppolo. Look at this, 27-7 against Seattle. Trey Lance hurt, so Garoppolo. See, that's like the Steelers. Everybody's like, well, why are they keeping Mason Rudolph? Well, they're keeping Mason Rudolph for insurance policy, just like the 49ers kept Garoppolo. Okay? Lions, they get their first win, 36-27 over the Washington Commanders. I got to tell you something. Ron Rivera has to be on eggshells, because the reason I say that is because he hasn't won in a while. He's been there, what 3-4 years? He hasn't done anything. Okay. Let's see who's next here. The Buccaneers. Well, here we go. 20-10. It was 3-3 in the fourth quarter. Jameson Winston got knocked out of the game. Marcus Mariota had to come in, but it was to no avail. Buccaneers 20, Saints 10. All right, Jacksonville 24, Colts nothing. You know what? I think Frank Reich's going to get fired this year, because I'm going to tell you what. He has egg on his face right now to lose like this to the Jacksonville Jaguars, the rebuilding team with Doug Peterson. You know, everybody said this. All my media friends in South Florida all said this. Scott Morgan-Roth, Steve Belisari, they all said the same thing. And that is that, Doug Peterson's for real. And we know that. He's a real good football coach. All right, next, the Giants 19, Carolina Panthers 16. Matt Rule, number 1 candidate, or one of 5 number 1 candidates for the Nebraska job. So I don't think you'll see Matt Rule pass this year if they don't win more than 5 games or more. All right. Next, Chiefs 27, Chargers 24. All right, and that's our NFL scores. College football, Arizona State fires Herm Edwards. You know what? That's a shame. Herm Edwards got involved in that stupid recruiting thing. They were fined, and the NCAA put some sanctions on them and things like that. Herm Edwards got in the middle of that. He had trouble recruiting this past year. They just lost a game to a bad team, so he's gone. Nebraska fires defensive coordinator Eric Shenander. I'm waiting for Mark Whipple to get fired next. And you know what? I'll be happy when that happens, because you know what? I don't like to see somebody get fired. But Mark Whipple's a different situation, because, see, here, in case a lot of you don't remember, some people have short memories. Mark Whipple screwed the Pitt Panther program. Won't be the first time. We've had many. Fraud Graham, Michael Hayward, Steve Peterson. We've had a lot of people screw our program up, okay? So, but, anyway, Scott Frost wasn't that great of a coach to begin with that program. Okay, that program hasn't been good since Tom Osborne. Okay, and then Frank Solich was good, and Steve Peterson, in his infinite wisdom, decided to fire him. He went to Ohio, turned Ohio into some kind of something for a long time, and now he's retired altogether. Ohio can't even screech out a win no matter what they do. I don't care if they play a prison team. They can't screech out a win right now. Okay, but what I'm telling you is this, all right? Mark Whipple screwed Pitt last year. He was their offensive coordinator. That's like taking the woman to the prom dance and having somebody else dance with her, and you don't dance with your woman at the prom dance. Well, that's what happened here. Mark Whipple was our offensive coordinator, and he said, I'm retiring from football. My wife is sick. Fine. Okay, Mark. But why did you leave before the bowl game? Okay. Now, I heard some stories. He was pissed because Pitt wouldn't pay him more money. He was only getting $500,000 a year. He's a 64-year-old man that, I think should be out on a golf course or something, not coaching college football. All right? But that's not my decision to make. But anyway, Mark Whipple decides to say this to Pitt. Then he takes a recruit This Purdy kid from not a real good five-star quarterback, takes him with him to Nebraska after he came here to Pitt to visit. Okay? And now I found out that this quarterback for Western Michigan wanted to play for Pitt in the worst way, shape, or form. But then because Mark Whipple left, he couldn't get the scholarship from Pitt. Thanks, Mark Whipple. You screwed us 3 different ways. Out of 2 recruits, good quarterbacks, and then you go and you screw us up. You weren't at the bowl game to be there, and neither was Kenny Pickett, and I'm still pissed at Kenny Pickett about that as well. Instead of sitting up in the press box eating French fries, he should have been out there trying to help his team. Okay? Unfinished business. Okay? Same concepts, like taking a woman to the prom dance and not dancing with her. All right? Same concept. Now Mark Whipple's in Nebraska, and Nebraska's 0-2 or 0-3. They got blown out this week against Oklahoma. They have an interim coach. They just fired the defensive coordinator, and the offense can't move the football. How wonderful that is. Okay? And that's why I say what I say about Mark Whipple. Okay? What would you do if you were a Pitt alum or a Pitt fan? Wouldn't you say the same thing? Mark Whipple screwed the university. He lied. Okay? Now, I heard, again, not only was it about money, I heard him and Narduzzi had some problems. Kenny Pickett said, I'll come back for a 5th year, but Mark Whipple has to stay. Because I heard after last year, he was going to fire Mark Whipple. Because him and Mark Whipple, Narduzzi and Mark Whipple weren't getting along. Okay? I heard Narduzzi doesn't get along with any of his offensive coaches. Okay? It's a horrible situation involving this. Okay? Narduzzi has to clean it up. Because I hope he keeps Frank Signetti Jr. And I heard that Pitt's paying him well for that. All right, let's get back to this here. All right, Texas, 41, University of Texas, El Paso. I'm sorry, University of Texas, El Paso, 20. All right, Ohio State, 77, Toledo, 21. Toledo's Rockets didn't rocket that game. Kentucky 31, Youngstown 0. Now, people in Kentucky are screaming. You should have blew this team out 60-0. Youngstown State's always been a good team, always in the FCS. Next, Oklahoma 49, Nebraska 14. Ain't that nice? Baylor 42, Texas State 7. Georgia 48, South Carolina 7. Let's see here. Michigan 59, Connecticut nothing. You know what? I'm surprised at Jimmy Mora. He's lost through 2 games. He lost to Syracuse, and he just lost to, the Michigan here got blown out 59. Now, Michigan's for real. If you don't think they are, you're wrong. Oregon coming back from that loss, 41-20 against BYU. All right, next we have, let's see here, Alabama 63, University of Louisiana Monroe, coached by Terry Bowden, 7. Wow. Tennessee 63, Akron 6. Boy, I tell you, the MAC conference is going down the toilet here a little bit. Oklahoma State 63, Arkansas Pine Bluff 7, Arkansas 38, Missouri State 27. Guess who coaches at Missouri State? Bobby Petrino. Remember him? Yeah. I'm not gonna spend all my time here tonight going over that. Florida 31, South Florida 28. My buddy Peter Blake down there in Tampa and Scott Morganroth were rooting for South Florida. Almost pulled it off. They almost did. Florida not that good this year. They got a new coach, Bill Napier. They got to get his system adapted. I saw former coach Dan Mullins on some kind of broadcast. So, there we are. Washington 39, Michigan State 28. That was a good game. USC, wow. How about USC with Lincoln Riley and what was his name? Yeah, there we go. I don't even want to talk about it. USC 45, Fresno State 17, Utah 35, San Diego State 7. San Diego State, they're stinking up the joints this year. Other baseball news, New York Mets are in the wild card. Buck Showalter is their coach, and so on and so forth. So there we are tonight. That was some of our other sporting news tonight. Here on Sports Corner every single Tuesday night, we are here at 8 p.m. on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. And please don't forget about my other shows. Monday night, 7 p.m. is the way I see it with me, Ralph Williams. Don't forget Wednesday night, tomorrow night, 7 p.m. Tomorrow night we're going to be on at 7:15 because I have my transit council meeting until 7. So we'll be on at 7:15. Myself, Smoking Jim Frazier, talking wrestling, lots to talk about. WWE's latest Extreme Rules in Saudi Arabia coming up, and a whole lot more all coming up. I'll tell you about that tomorrow, 7 p.m. YouTube, Facebook, Twitch. The AEW Kenny Omega, Young Bucks, that situation. We'll be talking about that as well tomorrow night and a whole lot more right here on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. Myself, Smoking Jim Frazier, 7:15 p.m. tomorrow for Talking Wrestling. Also, don't forget about Thursday night, Wrestle Talk. All right. Blog Talk Radio, 347-205-9631. Myself, Smoking Jim Frazier, Mark Mancini from Los Angeles, former ring announcer for XLW. And so he's down there in Los Angeles, and we're going to be talking, and maybe Clayton Truder will come in. He's one of our contributors to the show, and that is Thursday night, 8 p.m. Don't forget about that as well. Don't forget about Saturday, Sports Extravaganza, PCTV, Channel 21 Comcast, 47 Verizon Cable, Allegheny County, and also on PCTV's Facebook page. You can catch Sports Corner. We're on at, I'm sorry, the Steel City Sport. We're on at 5 p.m. Sports Corner, 6 o'clock Steel City Sports World, 7 o'clock the Boxing Authorities. 3 great hours, 3 great shows. Steel City Sports World has Luther Dupree, Smoking Jim Frazier, Claudio Rosano. This past week on their live call-in show, they had Dave Parker on, former Pittsburgh Pirate. He's in the Pirates Hall of Fame, hasn't made it to the Baseball Hall of Fame in Cooperstown yet, but I hope he does. Great guy, Dave Parker, great player, and it was a great interview as well. So don't forget, tune in Saturday, 6 p.m., Steel City Sports World. Also, don't forget about 7 p.m., the Boxing Authorities. Some of the best boxing talk from Luther Dupree, Smoking Jim Frazier, Claudio Rosano, myself also. We make PCTV what it is. Yes, we do, and we do it well, the 4 of us. All right, so please don't forget about that as well. Also, September 29th, 6 p.m. Well, actually, we start at 4:15 p.m. on Facebook Live. The way I see it, my special guest, K-Bay. And K-Bay, she works for PCTV, and she does a youth program that shows youth how to get on television and what to do. She's a very good podcast instructor and works for PCTV. She has her own little TV network. We'll talk about that September 29th. Don't forget, on PCTV's Facebook page, K-Bay is my guest on The Way I See It. And then right afterwards at 6 p.m. live, PCTV's Facebook page, and also on Channel 21 Comcast, 47 Verizon Cable live. Our live call-in show, myself, Smoking Jim Frazier. We had to move it to September 29th. And then don't forget, immediately the week later, we will be on as well on the first Thursday of every month, first Thursday of October, which will be on October 7th. It will be myself, Smoking Jim Frazier. Also, Steel City Sports World, the Wednesday night of that week as well, for their live call-in show as well. So a lot of sports stuff going on PCTV. Don't forget Channel 21 Comcast, 47 Verizon Cable. And also you can catch us on Roku. You can catch us on Apple TV. And on Fire Stick also, you can catch PCTV as well if you have any of those streaming services. And don't forget their Facebook page. You can check out archive versions. And do not forget my YouTube channel, and you can subscribe. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel. You can watch all my archive versions of Sports Corner here, The Way I See It, Talking Wrestling, and much, much more. I want to thank Claudio Rosano for being my guest tonight. Tonight's show dedicated to the late three-year-old Aiden Lombardi. And I don't know if you watched this at the beginning, but Aiden Lombardi was murdered a few years back. He's the grandson of my best friend and family there. And so also his mother's, grandmas, and all that are all very, very saddened by, and I'm sad myself. And, I broke up myself when I found out little Aiden died, because it was sad that he got murdered. Well, yesterday, Tyler Mason, the guy who murdered this 3-year-old kid, got his sentence. It's 20 to 40 years to life. He had pleaded guilty. And I want to say that tonight's show is dedicated to the late Aiden Lombardi, 3-year-old that shouldn't have, and his life shouldn't have ended so quickly. But anyway, he's up with the Lord, and that's good news. Don't forget, next Tuesday, 8 p.m. here for Sports Corner with me, Ralph Williams. And I'll have a guest on of some kind. I'm going to try to get somebody on next Tuesday as well. Last few Tuesdays, I've had people on. Last Tuesday, I was in Sugar Creek, Ohio, and I was also in Berlin, Ohio. And I broadcasted live from there. My guest was Danielle Orsino. You can watch that archive version as well here on YouTube. Also, don't forget my Facebook page, the one that has Sports Corner, The Way I See It, and Wrestle Talk page. You can catch some of my archive versions of my shows as well. And don't forget Twitch. Check out Twitch. Look for my shows on Twitch. And I'm working on getting on Twitter and a few other platforms, all coming up here real soon. So don't forget about that as well. Coming up soon also is going to be talking wrestling on PCTV as well. That's coming up real soon. We had to put that on hold, Smoking Jim and I, for this month because of some personal family issues with both of us. So we were unable to get that going, but we're going to try next month, get that started on PCTV as well. I am the new king of talking wrestling in Pittsburgh. So don't forget to tune in to all my wrestling talk shows, both here on YouTube, Facebook, and on Twitch. And don't forget about Thursday night at 8 p.m., 347-205-9631. You can listen in to Blog Talk, Radio, Wrestle Talk. We're on for a full hour on this Thursday. Myself, Smoking Jim Frazier, Mark Mancini, and a contributor, possibly, Clayton Trudor. I'm Ralph Williams, Spin Sports Corner. You have yourselves a great night. Thank you for watching. I really appreciate everybody watching tonight. And I hope that you have a great night. And I'll see you next Tuesday right here on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. Have a good night. Thank you.